Hello and welcome back to my Learning to Animate series. If I have to re-record this intro one more time, nothing's really going to happen because I'm doing this all for myself, so threats aside, in the last episode I did this animation, and as you can see, it's not terrible, but it definitely needs a lot of improvements. Which brings me to this here today. And while I'm going to be showing me improving this scene, don't take it too much to heart because I'm going to be cutting through a lot of this as this is kind of a failed recording. However, it does show a lot of things that I was doing and practicing. So I'm going to use this to talk about what I practiced, and then I'll get into what I actually did. Starting off, I could not find a video at all talking about the different tools in Tomaha. I don't know why I couldn't find one, but I couldn't. Which leads me to two different paths I'm now going to have to take. The first one is I'm going to have to learn a lot of them myself, which most of them, at least the one on that toolbar there, I can't even use in my current scene because it has the wrong kind of level. I don't know what any of that means, and I'm going to have to take time to learn it, but when I do, I'm going to make a full tutorial series myself and go over those first thing. I always find that the worst thing about a lot of tutorials are they don't go over your tool sets very well. And because I couldn't find anyone to do with the tool sets, it took me a long time to find the lines. You have to go into shapes and then go alter the shape and do a line. And then you can do the things as you can see on my screen now, where before it looked like a, well, mess. And now it looks like, bam, there's an actual house there. And straight lines and all the other stuff. Fun. And I'm also going to try to freehand over this. As you can see, I'm trying to use tan and I'm trying to run over it. I don't know why I did this. I wanted to show it because I kept on having this weird problem where it was altering back to the black. And I have no clue why it was doing this. I was clearly selecting the tan. And I eventually even created more layers of tan, as you can see right here. And then by the time I got a layer of tan to actually stick, I thought to myself, what am I even doing? This isn't even a colored scene. It's supposed to be just black and white because it's just stick figures. So I eventually went back to the black anyways to, well, draw over the much nicer looking straight lines. I don't know what I was thinking here. Keep an eye on that window because that's a huge problem of what happened to me on this particular practice session. Anyways, for the straight lines that I am butchering right now, I wanted to thank Jazza with his How to Draw a Background, Environments, and Landscapes for showing me that, as you do backgrounds, it's better to lay out lines so that way you kind of know where you're drawing from. It's going to be something that I'm going to practice more. It requires a lot of use of perspective, so I'm probably going to be doing an episode on perspective pretty soon. Already first couple minutes of the video and I already got a video on menus and perspective to do. And while I'm on the topic of things that I need to do, another thing, as you can see here, I was trying to, and I want to give credit to Taniko Pantoja, I'm sorry for butchering your name, but you did the video on they did the video on approaching full figure animations and finding your shorthand style, which is where I got the knowledge. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. Knowledge. I got the knowledge to start giving these stick figures shoulders and hips, which is supposed to help a lot with posturing. But as you can see here, I was having such a hard time with it that I even had to take a moment and draw an actual stick figure in the background just to see if I was even doing it right, because it was looking terrible. So I might have to, well, I definitely have to do a lot more research on this and probably dedicate some time to drawing on top of it. And the final thing that I want to dedicate time to, I'm tired of these videos being so silent, because I just don't like awkward silence, and I don't want to keep talking through every second of the video. So on top of the list of backgrounds, menus, and learning to draw a lot better, I'm going to add music to the list of things I'm going to practice next. And I kind of keep a booklet on all the things I want to practice, although this has not been working out the way I've been thinking it would. And I'll get into it in a little bit, but it just hasn't been working out as I thought it would, and I think I'm going to have to reapproach how I do these videos. However, as you're about to see, for whatever reason, when I realized I put the window in the wrong place, I was going to try to correct it, and when I clicked on something, my whole program crashed. So everything that you just saw here never even got saved. But you know what they say? When at first you don't succeed, try again. Which is why I decided to go back in there go back into Tomaha a few days later and rethink how I wanted to go about this. So my solution to the problem was that what I needed to do was just create a whole new scene. This solved the problem I was going to have about destroying my previous animations. Even though I have one uploaded, it still was just going to be a problem to me. And the second problem was, you saw what a jumbled mess it was, me trying to cut through all my different layers and trying to fix everything, and everything that I missed out and was screwing up. This way, when I create a new scene, I can start everything fresh. As you can see here, I'm already putting everything I used up to use. And another reason why I didn't want to leave a lot of stuff out in the last episode, or in the previous section, was because I wanted to show where I kind of learned this stuff rather than just skip it all and then move straight into this and just say, yeah, by the way, here's what I learned. I mean, I guess I could have done it and it wouldn't have been a big deal, but I like to show where I am learning, so that way I have something to point out later on. And as you can see, I'm doing a lot of what I was doing in the other section, where I'm using the straight lines to create a lot of the shapes, and I'm trying to use peripherals and overall just make this a prettier scene than what my previous one was, well, doing. And on top of it, it also gives me a clean slate to kind of work with the stick figures, because as their animations were, I was kind of unpleased with it because it was just kind of becoming a mess. And as you're going to see, it really didn't help not having them, because it's going to become the same kind of mess that it was before. But you can see a few differences that I'm already kind of making. For instance, my house is reversed now, and my roof isn't going to be centered. I mean, there's going to be just a lot of things to work on as I'm learning to draw. Perspective's definitely going to be one of the top priorities, which I think right now I'm up to important videos to look up. I can't do the menus, but I can learn the terminology to animation, which is where I was kind of getting into with the not being able to find good videos for menus. I was eventually going to talk about learning the different terms for animation, because I don't want to do this blind anymore, as it's not really working out, honestly. I mean, it's okay, because the more you practice, the better you get, or at least that's what they say. Some people argue against that. But the important thing is that if I don't know what I'm trying to learn, then it makes it extremely hard to learn it, because not only is no one going to know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to make myself look foolish not knowing what I'm talking about, but even as I'm trying to research stuff, there's going to be nothing that pops up, because they don't have a way of understanding nonsense. So that's why inside my list I already have 21 terms for animations, and I'm hoping I can get somewhere, because I think at this point I do need to kind of do some book learning, because ho boy, it has taken me a long time just to get the short list of videos that I have right now, and I've been screwing that up a lot because I've not been saving the videos inside of my saved playlist, and well, that stuff just doesn't matter. So right now, where I'm at least on priority, is going to be music. I believe I mentioned the music. I don't want the silence anymore. So music kind of is going to take a little bit of priority. And so is the terminology. And then, I already kind of forgot. I mean, I know art was in there and it was in the lower tier stuff, but that's kind of like what the video is for, because I'll be going through this myself to learn what the other one was. Not a super big deal. And I don't know if anyone was paying attention as I was doing the background, if I even done it yet. Oh no, this definitely shows it right here that I've not done it yet. I'm making a preset time for this animation, because I don't want to work with huge animations and take a lot of time to do this. I'm trying to kind of practice stuff in a single sitting, opposed to over the course of several sittings, and that's why I'm making a preset time for this animation to be 96 frames or 4 seconds. The reason why I didn't do my own time save trick is because I just didn't need to. It's only 96 frames, and it's not that super important. So now that my background's all nice and done, I decided not to freelance it, I guess, because I definitely did not draw those lines that straight. And we're already going to start getting into at least what I think is going to be like a first problem. And that's, I am not doing that good drawing these stick figures. I am really going to have to practice drawing this stuff, because I should probably draw that back arm first, so that way I don't have to try and layer it underneath my other arm. But my back arches is all weird. They look like they're hunched over, and that arm is definitely not following the laws of physics right there. Okay, even I could see that then too. And as I take time to draw this stick figure out, if you're wondering why I'm also not doing my time save for these stick figures, I don't have a good answer for that. I'm sorry. I guess I should have, because if I did have my time saves, well, I might have been able to focus on them arms a little bit more. But I guess tools for next time. I didn't realize it'd be such a struggle trying to draw stick figure arms. Actually, what I'm thinking about doing is coloring the arms differently. So maybe instead of having two black arms, I'll have like a green arm and a yellow arm to signify the background arm and the foreground arm. And that should hopefully make it a little bit simpler because, yeah, I think this is actually worse than my last stick figures. I'm definitely going to need to practice this a little bit more. And as you can see here, I'm just getting plain sloppy because I don't handle frustration like this very well. However, there was a reason why I want to specifically point this out. So I was trying to follow the rules of in-betweening. I actually don't have the video to give credit to for this, but I thought this would be a great time to show off the other side of the onion skin. Because as you can see down here where my timeline is, I now have two onion skin layers. The first one is my red layer, which shows the animation prior. So my animation before my marked frame is red. And then I have another onion skin that is green, which is the layer, the frame right after my current layer. Which is really useful when you're doing things like in-betweening because you can actually see where you're starting and ending as long as, you know, there's a clear animation for where you're going. For the example of just throwing this ball, as you can see with just the example of throwing this ball, it's as easy as just doing an in-betweening for this rotation, I guess it would be called. I don't know if it's really called a rotation, but that's basically what it is. And I really hope that videos don't turn out to be like this anymore. While I'm just kind of doing this, I just want to say I don't want to do the failing parts anymore because they're kind of a bear to work through. I've had to re-record this stuff probably 4 or 5 times, and you know, right now it's really hard to remember what I've currently said inside of this video and what I've already said, but don't remember it getting cut out from one of the last times I recorded this, and my voice is parched, so it has been super hard. I eventually solved my problem by just saying, hey, I'll break up my audio in the same way I broke up my section. So that way, at least if I screw up here, I can just go back and I don't have to re-record so much. But obviously, like, when you build a house, you have to layer things so that way you don't, you know, screw something up. For instance, if I would have started with this, I might have said something that I might repeat in the first section, and then I just have a whole mess. So it's always easier to start from the beginning and kind of going from there. However, and you guys will be able to see it a little bit better than me, but I got about a 35-minute video. And doing that 5 times kind of hurts your voice after a while. I mean, I am feeling it right now. I could use a drink of water, but I appear to not have one. Oh, there one is. Alright, if that sounded too bad, I'll cut that out of the video. And I'll get to show off why I find it very important that I should probably add in some music. I guess at this point, I could probably start trying to speed up videos in Blender because there's really nothing going on right now that needs to be gone over in depth. Like, there's nothing. I think at this point right here, I realized I drew all of these frames with this stick figure and the ball on the same frame, and I thought to myself, I've had a lot of technical difficulties making this animation. It was crazy. Maybe I can do live commentary, but that can be pretty difficult too. Last time I did live commentary, I had to scrap the whole thing just because, well, it's hard to maintain this for 30 minutes. I mean, it's right now it's not so bad because I'm kind of just looking at what I'm doing and kind of just pointing things out that I want to do for the next videos. But when you're doing it live, you're really focused on what you're doing, what you're drawing, and that can become especially bad. But that could be especially useful for music as well. Because if there's a background audience noise, then when I go silent, at least everything doesn't go silent. So yeah, I think it's official. Before I go much further on animations, I am definitely going to be practicing some music composition next. So be excited for that. Woo! I've actually had a video saved on my phone that I haven't added to a list yet. I've had it there for probably 3 months, and I thought to myself, oh, this would be great for my Learning to Animate series, because I've actually had that on. I've had that planned out for a couple of months prior to actual start dates. And I was like, all right, so I'm going to save this, and I'm not going to touch it until I'm ready to put it in there. And for like 3 months, it's just been on the background of my phone for waiting for me to do anything with it. I'm not going to, I could just look it up right now. What was that thing called? So, I guess for my next video, we're going to be going over how to compose music. Lesson 1, how to write a melody with art of composing. Can't wait to get that going. I'm actually really excited to get that going now, because I am ready to compose some music. Alright, from here, I mean, it's just kind of simple stuff now, where I'm just kind of animating the ball. I mean, this is like the most common stuff when people do talk about animations. They always use a ball, except for one person who pointed out the common use of a ball, so they instead used a person running off of a building, and then they cut out the whole section in between the part where they ran from the start to the end of the building. And there was like some kind of superhero thing, so it wasn't like inappropriate at all. Now comes what I think was probably the most interesting time of this entire animation, and probably the best part of using this particular stick figure model, although I don't think I needed to do elbows. I probably could have just kept the arms straight. And that's, I got to bend the back backwards as it is now falling down. And right there I realized, oh, he's not even moving this frame, so let's try that again. But I got to kind of work out how this body was going to fall down. And oh, in case you're wondering why the other leg wasn't touching the ground, I realized that, common mistake in Rome actually, if I was to have both legs touch the same point of ground, the background leg would actually be a lot longer. And as you can see here, I really kind of just, I don't know what happened with this particular frame, but yeah, I just like completely shrunk his legs down. As nothing else special happens, I don't even keep his arms consistent. Ouch. I'm gonna have to learn how to like scissor cut stuff. But that'll be another day. And now that background leg touches the main ground, that animation is done for the rest of the video. What do you expect for a 4-second video? And I realize now that in both scenarios I've had, one involves breaking a window, and the other one involves somebody hitting themselves in the face. Two negatives, but, and at least I hope people find it this way, I get to end this off at least with some humor. As both times, the friend realizes what's happening, and I'm going to animate him running away. Now, like I said, the one part where I was drawing this first stick figure falling down, while I found that to be the most exciting stuff to animate for this video, I'm actually going to find this the most important because oh, that was pretty neat of me. I actually enjoyed that immensely. Just watching that ball fly through the air. So as I was trying to plan out where I wanted to go from here, I just decided to skip all forms of reality and just instant transmit that arm up to the face. And then, before the first stick figure even has a chance to react to getting hit in the head with the ball, let's see if I teleport dash this guy. Not so bad. His arms are freaking out. So the nice thing about going back and looking at this, what I'm doing here, let me rephrase that. The best part about coming back in with post-commentation is I can kind of focus in on what I was doing at the time, and I can actually kind of see where I'm making mistakes here. Like, I do not know what happened with that guy's hips, but yeah, that was all sorts of wrong. I don't know what I'm doing here. The hips didn't move at all when I was drawing this, and the legs are like moving. So I can kind of see where I made mistakes, and it's not anybody's fault but my own as to why this animation kind of doesn't look its greatest. So I already have room for improvement on the next animation, which, I mean, if I'm going to be doing something that's composition related, then if I'm going to add an animation to it, I might as well practice something like a running animation with this stick figure. I'm not going to practice drawing on top of it, but I will practice kind of making it more streamlined, and I am going to practice making it way more streamlined and look so much more smooth than this. So focus on what I'm doing right now and just know that this is what's going to be improved next time. And hopefully there will be something aside from my voice to grate onto your ears in the next video as well. But, and I probably should have wrote it down, but I also have a list of 4 things that I want to work on as well in the process of the next set of videos. That would actually be a really great way to go. Oh my goodness, his arms are just horrible. What did I do here? Alright, in the next video, I think I have a pretty good layout about how I want to go about it. So I want to dedicate some time to composition, and I am definitely dedicating some time to that run animation. But on top of that, on top of the running animation and on top of the music, I'm going to be learning some terminology. I might go over that in the next video, I don't know. I mean, I guess it'd be like a classroom thing, exercise. Here I forgot to even add in the hip, but that's okay. So in the next video, I'm going to work on this running animation. I'm going to work on composition. I'm going to work on terminology. And I completely forgot what the fourth one was going to be. Probably something to do with tools, but that's going to have to be a dedicated video on its own because, well, if I'm making a running animation, then I mean, it's going to be hard to kind of make tools then and there, but I'll see what I can do. After all this is about learning animation, and as you can see, this was definitely not my most successful video, but I'm at least trying to work on it, so I would say that on its own is a success. And this is actually a good part where thinking on things like anatomy, like understanding how the leg moves when you run, definitely very important when doing a run cycle, because as you can see, the best I can do is make like these little sevens, and it's not cutting the mustard. I only have like a couple more frames left to do, and I can kind of just show off what I managed to mold today. I'm just going to let myself finish this last animation, and I think this is where I finally get to call it. You'll know the second I start just stretching this stuff out. And sure as you know it, I actually did do one more, which means I'm going to have to create another frame and then extend that down to 96. But as you can see, that wasn't really that much. Oh, it was right there I realized I didn't even need to stretch out the frame, so I don't know what I was doing. And the ball didn't roll very far, so it gets to just kind of stay in that spot. And in this episode, I managed to create this beauty of an animation. As I double check everything to make sure it's all nice and done. Oh, I just go ahead and stretch that out too. I will say this. The stretching on these frames is so slow. I don't know what it is that makes this stuff so slow, but it just does. I mean, I literally have my drawing pen to the edge of its screen. That's why it kind of just stops randomly. And that was my animation. Woo. Kid throws a ball, gets hit in the face. That ball flies faster than speed of sound. I should put a sound barrier in there or something. Not actually going to do that, but yep, that was my animation for this video. And I know this wasn't the most successful video I've ever done. It's been very disjointed, and I honestly couldn't tell you if it was even the worst. But either way, we have a list of the things I'm going to try to practice in the next episode. I will see you guys then.